Okay, dealing with period. So we remember that y equals a sine of b times x minus c plus d. B is the period, or deals with the period. The actual period, which is the length of the graph, is 2 pi divided by b. It's going to be 2 pi divided by b. So if I have, let's just say, the sine of 2x, I'm told I have the sine of 2x. Since there is 2 right in front of the x after the sine, not 2 sine of x. 2 sine of x deals with amplitude. Sine of 2x deals with period. Okay? You gotta know where that is located and where the x is. Okay? B equals 2. So then your period is going to equal 2 pi divided by 2, or pi. So everything's going to happen in pi amount of space. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same as last time. We are going to have a graph where we graph the normal sine curve. This time I'm only going to go 3 to get to pi over 2. Because I can make things happen and you guys can understand. Okay, so I'm going to graph y equals sine of x in red. I should do it in blue. That way it's a little more contrasting than the orange. Blue. Y equals sine of x. Where does sine of x start? 0, 0. 1, 0. Negative 1, 0. Okay? Now, am I going to stretch the graph that was 2 pi and now is going down to pi? Or am I going to shrink it? Is it going to be a stretched out or a shrink job? Shrink. Everything's going to get shrunk down. How much is it going to shrink down? Well, it's going to shrink down by a factor of 2. Okay? It's going to shrink down by a factor of 2. So everything is twice as close to the y-axis. Okay? So we take all the x values and basically make them twice as close to the y-axis, or half as long. So instead of going to pi over 2, I'm going to go to pi over 4, which is half of pi over 2, right? So pi over 4 is halfway in between here, so I'm right here. This one doesn't change. That one changes to there. What's half of pi? Well, it's pi over 2. What's half of 3 pi over 2? Well, it's 3 pi over 4, which is halfway. So if I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I go 4.5. And then instead of going 12, I go 6. And see how the entire period of my graph, the entire what normally was one curve until I repeated, happens in just pi amount of space instead of 2 pi amount of space. Okay? Okay. Let's do another one. Let's look at the cosine of x over 2. The cosine of x over 2. Well, that's the same as saying the cosine of 1/2 x, correct? X over 2 is 1/2 of x. So your b equals 1/2. So your period equals 2 pi divided by 1/2. What kind of a fraction is 2 pi over 1/2? Starts with a C. You learned this in Algebra 2. A fraction with a fraction in it is a complex fraction. So to get rid of it, we multiply by the denominator. So my period is going to be 4 pi. Is that a stretch or a shrink? It's a stretch. So again, I'm only going to go to 3 to get to pi over 2 instead of 12 spaces. Why? Well, I got to get all the way out to 4 pi somehow. So I got to kind of conserve room a little bit. Okay, so first I'll graph y equals cosine of x. Y equals cosine of x starts at 1, goes to 0, goes to -1, goes to 0, goes to 1. All right. Then since it's 1/2 of x, everything is basically twice as far away from the y-axis. So this one does not move. Pi over 2 goes twice as far away. So instead of being 3 away, it goes 6 away. Pi is 6 away. So instead of going 6 away, it's 12 away. 3 pi over 2, it was 9 away. So instead of going 9 away, we're 18 away. And then this was 12 away, so we're 24 away. So it is stretched out. Okay. Okay, let's get a little wild and crazy here with this next one. Y equals 1 minus cosine of x over 3. Ooh. What happens here? I've never seen one look quite like that with this number in front. I don't think that looks quite right. Because that's not y equals ab cosine of c. Y equals a cosine of b x minus c plus d format. So maybe I need to get it in that format. So how would I get it in that format? How would I rewrite this? What is this the same as? Y equals what? What's A? Dale, what's A in this case? What? Not 1. You're close, but not 1. Parker? -1. Cosine of what's B? What is B, Eli? 1/3 is B. And then it's x. And then, do we have a C? Is there a C there? I see no C. Do we have a D there? Yeah, we have a D. What's our D going to be? What do you think D is? Andrew? Anybody got any guesses on what D is? Could this be D? It was out front at the start, but it could go behind. Because 1 minus that is the same as negative 1 plus that, right? There's D and B and A. Okay. So, if B is 1/3 x, my period is going to be 2 pi divided by 1/3, or what's my period going to wind up to be? What's 2 pi divided by 1/3? Is it 2/3? No, it's 6 pi. 2 divided by 1/3 is the same as 2 times 3, which is 6 pi. So if my period is going to be 6 pi, I'm going to have to be shrunk down pretty good here. All right. So I'll go blue just to make my axis. So if my period is going to be 6 pi, I got to get all the way out to 6 pi. So again, I'm going to cheat just a little bit. I'm going to only make 2 squares to get to pi over 2. And then pi. Then 3 pi over 2. And 2 pi. And 5 pi over 2. And 3 pi. Then 7 pi over 2. And 4 pi. And 9 pi over 2. And 8 pi. Woo! What am I doing 8 pi for? 5 pi. And 11 pi over 2. And 6 pi. 1, negative 1. Okay, so we start with the normal cosine curve. So we're going to start with y equals cosine of x. Where's cosine start at? 0, 1. Then pi over 2, 0. Pi negative 1. 3 pi over 2, 1. 0. 2 pi, 1. So it starts like that. Cosine of x. Second step, we're going to go y equals negative cosine of x. Because we're going to deal with our a. So negative cosine of x takes every y value and multiplies them by negative 1. So instead of being at 1, I'm at negative 1. Instead of being at pi over 2, 0, I'm at pi over 2, 0. Instead of being at pi negative 1, I'm at pi positive 1. Okay. Then I'm going to do y equals negative cosine of x times, or negative cosine of 1/3 x. So I'm going to make everything 3 times as far away from it was when it was pink. So 3 times a 0 is still 0. This was 2 spaces, so now we go 2, 4, 6 spaces. This was 4 spaces. So we go 12 spaces. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then, instead of being 6 spaces over, I'm going to go 18 spaces over. Instead of being 12 or 8 over, I'm going to be 24 over. So what's my last step going to be on this one? What am I going to do to everything from the green? What's my next step? up 1. Up 1. 1 up, 1 up, 1 up, 1 up, 1 up. And there we are. All right. We good? For a little bit, at least. All right. So section 2.2a, we are doing 9, 11, 13, and 15 on page 127. We will work on this for about 20 minutes, and then we'll go to 2.2